Jeans. No, scripts. Start. Amazing. Here we are. Here we are. So, this thing over here. This other thing over here. Share. Copy. I love so much how difficult this thing ends up being sometimes. It's not difficult in itself, but there are the strange workarounds that need to be put in place to have it work like it should or what's not. We have this. This is also working. Discord. Here. Discord.com/app. Also, I never thought about setting up a bot for YouTube. I should probably do that, no? Like, I just realized I have forgotten how to that entirely. It's not even like I actually want to do that. Let me. This goes here, this goes here. Today. Risk of rain and returns. Yeah. True. Wow. I don't understand. Why does the preview to some degree show my links on, what is it? Yeah, on Discord to some degree, but not entirely. Like, you're missing probably 60% of the information or so? Why does it work like that? Like, not even 60, perhaps like 90 at this point, taking into consideration that you cannot see the title, you cannot see the description, the image, the stream image itself is basic enough. I haven't tried to change it. I accept that it is my problem. But really, you're telling me that that has to not be modified in any meaningful way? What? Anyway. Have this audio? Microphone. Levels, it's fine. I still have to understand what makes the audio not work like it should. I have no clue whatsoever why sometimes it doesn't want to work like it should. I just know that it does, and when it does, it is annoying. But well, I have Discord to set up. Do you want to? Let me copy this. This time I'm not going to actually forget, like yesterday. Yesterday it was so funny actually to do that. I wasn't even expecting that to happen, but yeah. I mean, it's not like the forgetfulnesses, plural, that you have are intentional to some degree. So when it happens and you end up being affected by that, it's comedy gold, basically. Okay, here we are. Everything is in place, basically. Also, interesting question, like, what? the opposite of a rhetorical genuine question. Unanswerable. No, brother. I mean, to some degree, yeah, no? Just semantically speaking, it is correct to say an unanswerable question, but I don't know, I feel like it could utilize a different term, like a rhetorical question. Rhetoric itself doesn't have that much to do with what a rhetorical question is, so no clue, man. Point is, yeah, I feel like unavoidably this thing that we have with the whole aspect of in the tags, when you look at the inside Twitch tags, the one that is mental hell, not health, hell, heal, with an H at the very end for some random reason. It's an unanswerable question. Why is it like that? Why isn't it like proper mental health? What's the actual difference? You know, like what are the things that makes this one far more special or far more normal? I don't know. Far more used? I have no clue. Also, wait. I was forgetting something already. Let me open this, green screen this. Wiki. Here. Difficulty. Open image. It's a 16 by 16 icon. Am I sure I want to save it? Absolutely. Undoubtedly, I want this 16 by 16 completely blurry image. There we go. This. No, over here. No, not this. So here, drop. Please drop. Favorite. Going to drop the link. Show. No, it's a web. Fuck. It's not what I was looking for. Can you open image? PNC. This has to be. Can I save this image? Web. No. PNC. What happens if I force it to be as a PNC? Like, it saves as a PNC actually. Amazing. You have no clue how amazing this is. This discovery has revolutionized life for me. Let me. Also, it's at 24 pixel image. How do I? What? Is it not present? Eh? Why didn't what? It didn't take it. Why does it not take it? Because it is too small, probably? What else? Open image. 24 pixel, 14 pixel. Don't you love that? When everything is so tiny that you cannot even see it. Can happen. Let me see. There has to be a way. How do I get a Google? The best tool for the person setting up Google. Let's see if there is a risk of running PNC somewhere that I can easily utilize because everything else doesn't work. Is this a PNC? No, No, it has even a watermark. Who makes... What? It's not even an official artist, but somebody watermarked and is selling a product with one of the characters. Understandable, I guess. What? Crazy. No, wait. If I search PNC, does anything that actually serve my purpose appear? No, right? No. Also, what the fuck? What the fuck is this image? You cannot see it. Can I show it? I don't think I can show it. I can show it, but I won't show it. Sorry. We can use this image. It's close enough. Disk FF. What is disk FF? You might ask yourself. What a great question. I have no clue. Let me open this. No, not them. Here. Loader, PNC. Here. No. Here. Drop it. What? Why did it not work? No. Me? That's why we don't try to make jokes in this house. Wait. No. No. I am about to crash out. It's another PNC from this random guy. You don't get it! This guy made PNCs like stickers from almost all items on... What the fuck? You don't... What? How can people allow this? They are selling the literal images themselves of the characters and whatnot. What? This isn't an official seller, I am absolutely sure. Like, you look up Risk of Rain PNC on Google, I don't know any other search engine on Google, and you will see at some point images that look like PNCs, but you decide to scroll down, and that's when you encounter, no, it actually isn't. Why? What a great question. Because for some reason there are stickers that somebody's selling. They have also watermarks. Amazing. What a craziness. I have, okay. You know what? I'm about to pick any random image at this point. Any image works for me. Now that I cannot really get anything else. We have spent like, how long? How long? Let me see. How much have I already been here? 10 minutes? No, sorry. Like 6 minutes longer than what I actually needed to be here. Because I'm simply trying to look for a PNC from a transparent image. What am I doing? Type. Transparent images. And why are you showing me non-transparent images? Can I ask? Okay, give. Works. At this point it works as long... Now, it will turn out that my friend Gaso says, nah, you cannot use... No, shut up. I can utilize GIFs. I cannot rotate this GIF in any way, but we have something. So that's enough for me. Okay. I can close this actually then. Amazing. Good. Now for real. What are you doing? Close this. Open this. I am not capturing them still. Sorry. I am professional streamer, as you will say. Gaming here, game capture, window, risk of rain. Hello. Do you consider risk of rain to be an existing process? Yeah. Okay, there we are. Okay. Good morning. Wait. As long as I don't open the tab itself, we don't have any sound. Even if I have sound activated, like, okay, watch this. Now I have it focused. Now we have sound. Now I have it unfocused. Now we have no sound whatsoever. Can happen. Settings. What am I looking for? Master volume. Yeah. Sound effects. I don't know if I want sound effects that loud. I think like an 80 works. How? You know what's the best part? I cannot see how loud it actually is because unavoidably, how could I see it if the moment in which I am focused? Is it an option? Audio. Mute when unfocused. Can you not do that for the love of God? There we go. Amazing. So, a little bit. Music a little bit louder. Like... me trying to get to the... At some point where I want to land at 60. Holy... It's necessary for the stream, you don't get it. If we don't get 60 exactly... Oh my god! Okay. There we go. Okay, anyway, beat is over. I was saying, is it too loud now? Kinda incredibly loud actually, based on the information on the stream thing. There we go, 65 works probably, like, I mean, 50, just to be cautious about things. And let me lower this a little bit more. Okay, there we are. We have it working. Risk of rain returns. I have played this game. How many hours? I have no clue. Can I see that anywhere? No. Stats. Does it show room history? Total time played 18 hours supposedly. So yeah, that's the thing so far basically. The current goal, what are we talking about? The current high score. Basically, I don't know, I cannot really explain to you this whole game, it's way too complicated. You should do yourself a favor and install it, play it, and find out if you love it or you hate it. It's amazing. I don't really know what else to do. It's a great game, but yeah, it has too many mechanics. It's an arcade game, that's for sure, but it has way too many things going on to be capable of explaining all of them today, right now. Like, so yeah, point is, we have modifiers. If you implying having the assumption that you understand what's happening, then it means that I can tell you this much. We have modifiers. I play with modifiers. I am the kind of guy who actually likes to play with modifiers, and I think the game by default is either too random to my liking, and to some degree it also is, what the fuck, amazing. Almost never you actually get an item on the literal first kill. It happen, I guess. But yeah. Watch me die. Watch me die on the second enemy. But yeah, I was trying to say basically that it wasn't a beat, I did die. Beautiful. Yeah, modifiers to make the game actually interesting. Not that it isn't really interesting, but to, I guess, add more spices and more complications and all of that. And more everything, so that it actually makes some sense in terms of why are we playing this? Because it's better that way. It's sometimes it's good to have a challenge, and I don't know, I don't really, I have maybe, okay, not exactly this game. I have to admit this much. I haven't really played this one that many hours, but the first one, I probably played like 100 hours or so. I have the first, also 2D Risk of Rain on Oil. I played perhaps like, who knows? Yeah, I believe it is a reasonable amount, actually, 100 hours or so. Like, at the very least, implying that I haven't played even more. Also, the highlight, the red highlight, looks horrible. I thought it was going to be more necessary, but it seems that I was wrong. It should actually deactivate it. But yeah, point was... Wait a second. I have enough of this game to actually be minimally capable of understanding what happens and what not, so yeah, it's something that comes not exactly as a second nature. Unavoidably, there are some characters that I haven't utilized. Like, I am pretty sure, yeah, this guy was present on the first game also, but I never played with him in the first game. I am a huge loader. I don't play. Okay, the expression is I have 100 hours. From those 100 hours that I have played the Vtuber game, perhaps 80 of them were with the literal loader and nothing else. That's how much I actually like that character compared to anything else. So yeah, we are also trying to test out some stuff and trying to finish some things. I think, like, for example, there is something associated with like a challenge or something. I don't even remember what I have to do. Something like getting enough foods or something like that, I think it is. Or not foods. Like, you have to get a combination of specific items, I think it is, to unlock the second ability of this one. Or one of them. Something. You unlock something by doing something. Well, we have predicted that. But yeah. Point is that yeah. We're this is the game of choice. After so much peak, I finally realized we don't need any more peak. I beat peak. I am happy. I am content. I got what I wanted exactly out of it. That was to see how it feels to actually win in that game. And I have the capacity to the possibility of saying, yeah, no, I don't really need much more. I'm good. I don't really have to go for a second win on a higher difficulty or anything like that. I am happy as I am right now. So yeah, we can avoid. We probably, basically, unless some other external factor comes, there isn't going to be much more big. Coming out of me, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I don't want to. It was enough of a torture already. So yeah. Actually, saying it like this, I wasn't even expecting to take that many tries. I believed that it was gonna be a lot more instantaneous, not this absolutely difficult, difficult, hard, complex thing that ended up being like, how many streams did it actually take? Like 4 or 5? That was crazy. No. Okay, but point is, besides that, the next challenge, because I have been grinding this character since I picked up this game again, quote unquote, recently, like, recently as in perhaps in the last 3 months or so, they finally released an update to, what was it? I think it was something related to one of the DLCs that came out for the second game or something like that. So they have this game actually quite abandoned, and very recently they finally remembered its existence in general. So because that happened, I finally was capable of returning with the desire to continue playing. I don't know, I like the people who makes... No. I like the games that these people make, but I feel like they have quite a high orientation towards money for the or yeah, in terms of what they do for the games that they create and whatnot. I am surprised to see how many things seem to be absolutely in order to just ensure that they keep on gaining much more cash. It's crazy. To me, it's crazy. I like the things. Once again, I like the games, but I don't really like the models that they utilize for these games and whatnot. I feel like I don't really need that much emphasis on DLCs and whatnot. So sadly, what I'm trying to say is, because I have that sensation, I feel like unavoidably this game, being not something that I can actually milk in any real manner, end up being completely abandoned simply because of that. And sadly, yeah, it's to some degree, it's always sad to see it happen. Even more so because, yeah, I don't know, it's you have the whole story of this game, or not exactly this one, but rather what they did. Risk of Rain 1 was perhaps one of the most influential games for the whole roguelike genre, or roguelite, I guess. I don't really think it is actually roguelite. It's far more about roguelike itself, yeah. And it's sad to see that they never gave it any deeper attention than just releasing this version, doing like a handful of patches and nothing else. And the game does a lot more than just that to deserve to never get anything else. But at least we have it existing. It's not like it has been entirely abandoned and there is absolutely nothing to say about it. Its mere existence can be say something to appreciate already, so yeah. Happy with that. Also, I'm going to kill myself because the electricity enemies cannot be killed if you are remotely close. Like, they can kill you more than you can kill them. Okay, there we go. But yeah, besides that, I said something about the modifiers. I chose one of the many simple modifiers. No, not one. I have a handful of them actually. Like, I didn't actually check any of those things. I know I have them. Unavoidably, I know I have them. Wow. And surprisingly, I have them, and I know it. We're going to be seeing at the screen for perhaps getting a run going takes me sometimes between 10. Wait, actually, is this also roguelike? I heard. Yeah. Basically this. But wait here. What the fuck do we have? Damage dealt, damage taken. What if I reduce this thing? Like, what if I make it lower? No, because I'm pretty sure if you reduce that, you don't get any unlocks. So that's bad. Damage dealt 200, and I am still struggling against the enemies. Amazing artifacts. What do we have? No longer spawn chests. Items are no longer random. Enemies always spawn as elite. No. Spirit is bad. Is bad actually. There is an artifact here that is useful that like reduces the life of everything. I am pretty sure. Huh? Who knows? Anyways, also sorry, welcome for I hope I just replied. It was instinctual. I didn't say hi. But yeah, it's a roguelike. Simply as I said, it's one of the most arcade ones that exist out there, basically. Compared to, I don't know. Okay, inside of the roguelike discussion, there is always discourse about the whole aspect of, oh yeah, but is it only roguelike, the games that are slow paced? Unavoidably, we can classify this as a roguelike, and it also is incredibly slow. No, no, what are you saying? It's absolutely the opposite. This game is not slow at all. Sorry, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I'm trying to not die, and that makes me miss the input of my... It's all fine. I am not promising to win every single run. That's not my promise, actually. Let me make that tiny note at the bottom of the page. The title is a direct reference to how many times I'm going to end up dying until I can finally win for once. At some point, it will happen, and when that happens, when I win, life will be so amazing. But until that happens, this is going to be a miserable stream in which I kill like 3 enemies, I get killed time and time again, and repeat until I finally don't die. And at that point, things will be so much greater. But yeah, that's the current quote-unquote plan. Like, it's not a plan at all. It simply is what it is. Probably I should have chosen any other character instead of this one, taking into consideration that yeah, it's not one that I am even comfortable with playing. I feel like it's so slow in so many aspects. It's so hard to control. Can happen anyway, so we are not... we can do this. I get to win a run with this character, and after that, we're gonna play a lower run. Implying, like, I am making the assumption that I'm going to actually win. Who knows if I am going to actually be capable of doing that? I say it, but I don't really know if it is going to happen. I feel like it might as well happen. It has no reason to not happen, but I haven't actually tried for like the last 4 hours of gameplay or so, and it has yet to happen. So at this point, I actually doubt if it is entirely possible to have it happen. Maybe just like it happened with Peak, we are forced to be here for an eternity until it finally finishes its torment upon me, and I can be freed from the torment that is to try something that you know isn't going to succeed, but not because it is hard, simply because you lack the ability to. So I feel like playing on a higher difficulty and playing with modifiers is actually quite dangerous, and I didn't even choose the best ones. There is a quality that makes the base game beautiful, and that is having access to chests. Not having access to chests means that you cannot ignore the enemies here, like, you can, but you shouldn't, because otherwise you end up with literally no powers whatsoever. And I actually do rely a little bit on them, at least in my case, so yeah. We are here until we can stop being here, I guess. Yeah. Can you... I love how the game seems to have realized that I'm trying to keep my distance, and out of nowhere I am getting all shock enemies. Why does that matter? Great question. It matters because shock enemies don't even have to touch you. Just by the mere virtue of you being close to them, you get hit by their electric aura. It's so funny. It's the best thing that they have, basically. I don't even know what I mean. I think at this point I'm going to take a heal. Yeah. We don't have 2 items anyway, so... To get confident out winning is meaningless. Amazing. But yeah, I was saying that, and I don't know, my choice ended up being this game, basically, because of all of those reasons. I like it, and I feel like it's Kino. And I feel like, sadly, it doesn't have enough. This one, actually, doesn't get enough recognition. The first one, as always, was important enough to be understood as a pillar for what became later on the more developed indie movement and whatnot. But this one, to some degree, it's not unfounded in terms of, oh yeah, it makes no sense. Why do people not know about the existence of this game? No, it is entirely reasonable. For some reason, they didn't even try to publicize its existence. Like, I think I found out about it when... It's fine. No enemy was hitting me. You know what? Let me do myself a tiny favor. You have 2 sets of a skill on almost all characters, and you can change between them in whichever way you want. I'm not going to utilize Slice anymore. It's a good skill for dealing chunk damage. The problem is, it forces you to be way too close to enemies, so I cannot afford that. But yeah, I was saying. This game, actually, I found out about it because I was interested in replaying the first one. I am pretty sure not even online I found people saying, oh yeah, have you heard? This game is getting, like, the original Risk of Rain is getting a remaster or an extended version or anything like that. And it was in itself quite a weird campaign in terms of, yeah, it could have gotten a lot more attention from the studio itself, which it didn't, which does feel strange and bad to some degree, unnecessarily ignored. And the point is, yeah, I don't know, I like it. I simply wanna remind people about its existence. Sadly, it isn't even the case of an absolutely unknown game or whatnot. The franchise itself is popular enough, I guess. When you talk about indies, probably Risk of Rain as a whole is one of the most successful franchises in terms of all the stuff that they have and all the stuff that they move and whatnot. They have quite a huge fan base, they have quite a huge player base on the second game too, but I don't really see, like, okay, it's not the best metric, but significant enough. I haven't seen anyone playing this game on Twitch. That's how there I feel it is. I haven't seen anyone say it or mention its existence. I know people that loves to play indie games. I haven't seen almost anyone even try to play it. That's how abandoned I feel like this game ended up being. And I don't know, I don't think it is bad, like, unavoidably, something about the whole genre that it has and whatnot in terms of it requiring so much attention from the player and requiring such... it's as equally difficult as the second one to some degree, like, not unavoidably, not exactly, like, literally the same thing, because this is a 2D, the other one is a 3D, but this one is as equally hard to master, and there are enough crazy things that can happen in both of them to deserve the games, to guarantee that the games could have a lot of skill ceiling, basically, you know? Whereas it doesn't really happen for some reason, and that's sad. But well, we can get past that. It doesn't really affect us in our existence. It is whatever. Even if it happens, it doesn't have to influence us. The point itself, like the meta narrative or the general view of the game, doesn't affect what happens here internally. Like, yeah, whatever goes on in relationship to all of that has nothing to do with what we ourselves do in relation to the game, so it doesn't matter that much. What it does matter, yes, is that it's hard. So as I promised, we're going to be here for a while until I finally can beat the run. Besides that, Also, yeah, I realized I didn't finish my point. Mentioned it and didn't get to actually finish what I was trying to say. This game, an absolutely golden metric in that sense for me is, for some reason, this game on Twitch. Like, you know how popular this whole game in general has been? And you see on Twitch, nobody's playing it. Like, not even a fan is streaming it. What? That's strange, to say the very least. To be, like, generous about it, you know? So yeah, I feel like it's not entirely bad, but not in the best of positions, basically. Can you stop throwing missiles? Right there. Okay, no missile. Amazing. But yeah, basically, besides that, no, for real. And I don't know, the challenge is to try to win simply. No, nothing else. It's simple enough in terms of what has to happen. We simply get to see the final screen at some point. And with that, I will be satisfied myself. The only issue is actually letting that happen, so to speak. Yes, yeah, I feel like it actually is all that easy of a game in itself. Like, it's an easy challenge, not an easy game, sadly. There are games 10 times easier than this one. Or at least under these conditions, yeah. Also, I kinda screwed up. I allowed the golems to spawn way too many other golems, so I am getting spammed the fucking... Yeah. The missile thing. Good. Okay, there we go. Think so? Yeah. Oh. That's the first level, but you know what's the best part? For each area that you also advance, yeah, it doesn't even get any easier. Despite anything else that I have myself. Doesn't mean that I guarantee winning. And also, I don't remember what I need to get, like, this increases health. Okay, yeah! That's exactly what I need. Okay. We can do it. This is it. Besides that, because I haven't really been saying anything, excuse me. I don't know, life has been well enough lately. I'm happy, and studying is incredibly complicated. I feel like one of the most difficult aspects out dedicating yourself to the understanding about anything is also the whole notion. I like to describe it like the recurrent theme that you find when you try to listen to me is the different frictions that exist within oneself. Okay, besides that, the whole aspect also of, and you know what, there is a lot that has to do, sadly, with the unwillingness and the price that one has to pay, quote unquote. Like, it's all figures of speech, not really the cash that you have to spend, but rather I guess the proper term would be under the umbrella of any kind of price that you have to utilize, well, that you have to pay to acquire mental, psychic energy that you have to spend, so to speak. Like, that sounds incredibly mystical. What is actually mental, psychic energy? Okay, the degrees of effort that you have to go through so that you can sometimes acquire, understand, grasp some things. That thing is what I'm trying to talk about. And that is absolutely not just expensive, like, that's unavoidably obvious. Yeah, things are expensive. You want to get some parts of yourself, make sense out of some aspects of what you are, what you do, or even in a more general sense, even if you are not trying to just talk about yourself, like inside of the psychological discourse, you're always going to be centered around yourself. When you're only talking about psychology, that's the issue of forgetting that sometimes a general question poised for a wider spectrum of existence, like, can we truly understand what we desire ourselves? Can we truly grasp what we want to do, what we hope to obtain, what we try to gain? All of those questions, those things fall under the category of also difficult things to actually grapple with or against, simply because they require a lot of patience and elimination of other aspects of the personality, I guess you could say, yeah, that require a lot more effort than simply, I feel like this is what makes sense and this is what doesn't make sense. So, in all of that work, I say it because sometimes it's actually crazy to think that, and that keeps happening. It never stops. There is always going to be an extra added weight to the things that you try to do, to the things that you try to accomplish, or in a different, similar interpretation, but different still. There is also always going to be a little bit of effort to try to, like, proper terminology, to further specify what I'm trying to talk about. There is always something else to work on. That's, I don't think entirely strange, like, skill. Okay, I don't even have anything to heal myself with. What is this? Oh my god, no! All of these are heal items, actually. This is perhaps a golden fountain in terms of opportunities. That is astronomically great, actually. The only issue is getting to actually survive all of this, so that I can kill them later on. So that I can buy those things later on, actually. Yeah. Wow. We can do it. Can we? Can I stop moving around? Okay, I'm going to... No, I don't have even the healing mushroom to not end up exploded by the random attacks. Okay, we can wait here. No, we'll wait over here, we'll wait. In this game, if you stay still, you lose basically, so you cannot wait. How can we play this game waiting? Having patience? Huh? Not acting against our own interests? How can that happen? I am, like, unnecessarily risking all of my HP every single instance that I decided to fight. But aren't here to take risks? Aren't we here on this world place to willingly put ourselves against all the challenges that we can? That's what we get for getting overconfident. And you know what's the best part? It was actually looking amazing. I don't even know how. I think I spent some money, I think, buying back a drone or something that I shouldn't have. What can happen, anyways, besides that. I was trying to say, basically, that yeah. And suddenly, the encounter with all of those expenditures and aspects that one has to slowly but surely digest, I feel like unavoidably end up being exhausting. Like, at the end of the day, even if it is something positive, I don't think anyone gets to entirely be happy with the notion of, oh yeah, today I had to yet again reanalyze and re-evaluate so many of the things that I believed I was myself. The whole under the flag of by trying to make sense out of what I am and having to also encounter so many of those aspects that I have before decided didn't deserve any attention because I forced that to happen. I also have a lot of dissatisfaction gained simply because it is in itself quite a difficult thing to actually accomplish. The realization that I do have many of those things to still move, digest, end up making myself realize that no matter how good I feel about what I am right now, it doesn't really get to be a realistic statement in terms of what I have yet to do. What is there still to accomplish is all so widely spread, all so many other things, all so many other possibilities to attend to that surprisingly, or sometimes actually unsurprisingly, it feels like some days live with enough results to not say that literally nothing of value happened, no, but at the very same time, on the other hand, with the idea that I don't really know how much of that work that did occur, how many of the things that I did get to be quote unquote accomplished actually possess that much of a value to cherish, let's say. Because in the end, if I feel like I did a lot, but when I look back and when I look forward, I see that despite all that has happened, there are still so more other aspects to try to deal with, so many more notions to try to, once again, as always, digest and understand and integrate and assimilate and whatever. It's to some degree unavoidably false to say, therefore I have been accomplishing quite a lot. Not in a negative sense of meaningless. I don't think the point is to say that it is meaningless, but rather that, certainly it's hard to properly evaluate what are the things that one gets to actually gain from the degrees of work that one puts on all the stuff that happens in one's own life, in that or after that realization, I guess, And I don't know, I feel like unavoidably that there are quote-unquote solutions to all of that, but even so, right now, it doesn't look all that clear so far. I feel like unavoidably it's always going to be there at the best with a much lower intensity, and that's wonderful. But, or no, the whole aspect also of the intensity itself doesn't get lowered at all, but what does happen is you get to actually not pay attention to it, because you realize that what you are capable of saying, what you are capable of doing for the things that you like, that you care about and all of that, are more than enough. The whole aspect, the whole eternal aspect of the justifications that I possess for the things that I do myself are stronger than any other argument that I might present to my own self. And even if I accomplish a 0.001% of progress towards my goal, having done that already is sufficient to actually make it be important, even if when from outside I could try to compare it, I might believe that I have the possibility of treating it like something much less significant than what it actually has been. The eternal notion of, I know if I have something that I want, and I have something that I truly cherish, I therefore am truly aware, or entirely aware that even if it is small, all progress matters for the achievement of that very same important thing. If not, if that cannot give me what I'm looking for in terms of, now I understand that what I'm doing and what I'm going for and what I'm trying to do and what not possesses a value of some sort, Yeah, on order at that point it probably won't. But that's a lot more along the lines of perhaps I myself not realizing where the value itself of the thing that I do lies more than the it doesn't have any in itself. I don't think so. I feel like in most of those evaluations there is always the added weight of the realization of suddenly what was hitting me? Excuse me? The wisp. I forgot entirely about the wisps. Also I'm out to light it again. Who would have expected that? But from the very beginning, I didn't even try to light this time around. Yeah, we are going to be here for a long while until a run can actually win. Don't even worry about it. It's part of the fun, yes. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Until it works, until it finally operates, it should. It shall remain a torment. Any moment in which things don't go in the exact same direction that one wishes they were going, it feels like tormentous, even if it isn't really. But for the person to actually grasp that, it's difficult. Yes. But anyways. Also, I chose the entirely wrong augment, the relic. Doesn't matter. Sometimes we make mistakes and they're better. Okay, one of them died. Can we kill the second boss? Good enough. Now, also, I don't know even what is... I know that the explanation 56 leaf clover, as it says there, makes the chance of getting items from the kind of enemy that I constantly fight be increased. The problem is, I don't know exactly how much, like, this game has way too much math behind it, to the point to which it doesn't truly get to be known entirely if, at this point, I am killing enough enemies to justify going for this, or if there is something else to try to aim for, but not. Anyways, this whatever. It works well enough for me, so cannot really complain. In that sense, at least. Also, nothing gained. Amazing. But well, yeah, we're done. This, once again, first level is done. Now, to survive the second level. Which is even more hard. Even harder. But well. It also is out trust and out letting the process be whatever and letting it happen in it the way in which it needs to and trusting that it won't go badly. Because otherwise things don't take a right turn. And when that otherwise comes, it ends up not being that great because you realize that by having spoiled all the fun and the things that you're doing, you reduced your possibilities itself of success. Otherwise, it wasn't as unobtainable, but rather the mentality itself possessed out the things is also what kills the possibilities and the approach that one takes, even if just from the way in which we picture it, has already decided quite a huge portion of what ended up happening after that. So, yeah, it will go well. We have to do it. list well enough. Also, take into consideration that I have all of these upgrades. What is the thing that I should actually looking towards? Like, I know unavoidably this is one of the many games. Okay, even if there isn't that much of a community, it's simple enough in its roots that people have already found out the quote-unquote best method to play them. The whole aspect of we have made sense out of how you play it so that you don't have any more to worry about playing it the wrong way and whatnot. Yeah, there are always, if you're at all interested in the quote-unquote right way to win and whatnot, you have an entire formula somewhere around the internet to follow and somewhere around either the forums or discussions on Steam or at the very least on Discord to guide yourself by and say, yeah, okay, I know how I can actually ensure that I'm not losing, or at the very least making sure that if I am not going to win, I don't get to lose as hard and whatnot. So yeah, I don't think I want to really follow that, but like, it's not okay. Sorry, it's not that I don't think we are not going to. I don't like to follow those, so it's a confirmed we aren't going to at all even try to look at them. I acknowledge their existence, but I myself decide to remain distant from all of those. I like actually playing the games myself, even if I don't really do the whole playing the game in the best manner possible. I am 10 times happier doing that than, as always, following some guide that makes everything more of a checklist than an actual experience of, oh wow, there are these challenges that I can go through myself and that I can work on and that I can at some point understand and deal with. When that happens, and that therefore unavoidably kills a lot of the enjoyment, I searched what I have done with my own time, and not in a positive manner, in a positive light specifically, yeah. But well, it's so far it's looking promising. I feel like I don't want to say so much. Last run was also like not exactly last one. The one that we also got to the second level was as promising, and somehow I also died. So maybe sometimes it doesn't matter how promising it looks like. It's all good. It can happen. You know what? Let me check for a second actually. Because there is something that these games always have, and that is to see all the upgrades that we get. I have literally no clue what I should be getting most of the time. So I want to actually figure out what should be. I know only that I have to get this thing. After getting this item, everything is random, entirely random. And I suppose this? I don't think so, right? No? Then what? On hits to fair, fire chain lightning for 66 total damage on up to 3 targets. I'm pretty sure the healing, anyways. I'm going to try again. At some point it's going to work. Also, no, I'm getting absolutely pissed off by that. I understand why it was deactivated, actually. Thank you very much. No more red outline. But yeah, besides all of those encounters, I don't know, I haven't continued with this I earlier started this time saying that, but yeah, I have continued with the studies yet another day, and it's fantastical to see actually how many things are out there to appreciate in older things. In not okay, not an older thing can be something that was said literally yesterday sometimes. No, okay, then so many things of huge value that can be found in ancient information, so to speak, in things that have been expressed 200, 300, even sometimes 5 or 600 years ago. No, not just in a philosophical sense of, oh, wow, yeah, if the person, like, for example, if you have never thought about something of the likes of what someone like Aristotle's announces and debates and whatnot, you're going to have a hard time at all not feeling like that is absolutely amazing to some degree unavoidably, because it can be in terms of yeah, for anyone it is great to grasp logic in its very basis, but in a deeper sense, the reality of also, I don't know, man, I feel like unavoidably there is a lot of other things to encounter that do possess quite a lot of value. That also, I don't know, I feel like there is an issue. Things are appreciated, but not well enough to the degree to which you actually understand how important they are. You have heard, like, I think by the time you get to become a grown-up, that's the standard here, no? By the time you get to become that, you supposedly have heard enough times the whole notion of, yeah, supposedly you have to explore and you have to see and you have to deal and you have to have at least try to approach all of these texts and all of these relations and whatnot. And, well, that can be true in terms of you have heard it in a simple manner. There is no actual motivation, not just motivation, no true interest in making sure that people are truly approaching that. Like, for example, as much as we get almost entirely forced to go to school, it has all of its justifications, no? It's one of the most useful things to do and whatnot. I am not disparaging against the scholar system, but rather, as much as that happens, it should also happen a lot more with many other things, no? It should be a lot more present with many other disciplines, no? There are many aspects of things that end up making part of the human life that, while existing under that category, don't get at all addressed. You don't really feel like you should truly, honestly, by yourself. Like, there is no proper justification for trying to learn something new, trying to grasp something that you have been grappling with so far. There are many of those things absent, and much of what can be gained from that, much of what can be earned through the process of trying to actually do that work is beneficial, but in itself it doesn't get highlighted as such, it doesn't get treated as such. And that is, at that point, it does feel strange to see, to say, to realize, is this important? Why are we all acting like it doesn't matter at all? Like, how can we have become so willing to not say at all, yeah, make sure that you have explored this thing, make sure that you have read this stuff, try for your own benefit to get close to these pieces of information. And I don't know, I feel like unavoidably, sadly, one of the many, it's an easy analysis in terms of, does it truly come out of nowhere? No. It has a clear enough explanation in terms of the moment in which we accept a lot more the explanation for, yeah, but you cannot dictate to me, for me, what matters, what is necessary that I explore and what not. Once we allow that to become the staple, a lot of these conversations therefore became banned, the possession of your own opinion led in some strange manner to the ban on any suggestion that could be made, so that the person gets to be free in what they see and what they hear and what they pay attention to their own detriment, because in itself, that whole premise, so to speak, presupposes that you are going to always have an interest in seeing so many wonderful aspects of life, so many interesting things to read, so many surprising new ideas to London and whatnot, when in reality that's not the case. Most people don't truly have. Not that you can't have it, in terms of you don't have it, because you can't. You do not get to possess it out of nowhere. You don't wake up one day looking at the world with a bright spark in your eyes. When you are born, when everything seems new, you are willing to have that happen. You are willing to risk a lot to discover what is happening out there, what can be done, what this world has to offer, basically, no? But once you slowly grow up, once you slowly get to understand the more things and become more the self that you want to be, quote unquote, in that whole process, there is an eternal, or yeah, a recurrent, not eternal, but a recurrent issue of, and because I have already cemented myself on some aspects, now I understand that many other things don't really matter to me at all. Many other things don't really become anything that I want to deal anything with, don't really have an importance to which I want to pay attention at all. And that is, once again, that's where I feel like it can be actually hard. Because in itself, it's wonderful to have the possibility. Oh my god. I love these enemies. You get it. Favorite part playing the game is getting the Grand Will-O-Wisps to come and fucking one-tap me almost. But anyways, I was saying that yeah, it happens way too much to a degree to which it seems unnatural. The whole aspect of yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if you have something that you should be interested in seeing, or even if you have the possibility of having something that you could understand more deeply, so that you can therefore possess an interest of your own on the rest of the world, doesn't truly need to exist. You don't truly need to see stuff of that sort. You don't truly need to want to have that happen. You don't truly need to wish to grasp many other things. And after that, I have already constructed way too many times the whole argument of, and suddenly it happens because of that very simple reason that at some point, once you actually realize that you have the what the fuck? Amazing. Once you have the capacity to grasp that indeed within yourself there is the possibility to grasp far more than what you have been told, even if it is true, even if it is correct, you don't really feel like doing so. You have already spent so much of your life seeing everything else and trying to grasp every other aspect of existence that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter almost anymore. Even if you could do it, why try to do it now when it might be too late as well? So that whole strange aura that gets embedded onto the treatment that we give to this world doesn't just feel weird, but also absolutely counterproductive, so to speak. Like, the norm becomes that you're going to try to do the things that you care for, to just find out then that all the things that you wanted also might as well not truly lead to what you're hoping for. But in the process of doing that, you will sadly have to deal with the realization that, and even if you could do something that you truly adore, you might not entirely be capable of doing it in itself. Not because you're bad at doing things, but rather because you have a desire now. Do we even have enough things to understand in which direction should we be trying to go? Do we even have enough things to actually talk about the whole aspect of, yeah, you want to deal a lot better with all of that? In a real sense, there is, I don't like the argument of, no, yeah, nowadays, with even more so, like, the recent discussions that exist around the whole subject of, wow, now something wonderful that exists at the very tip of our fingers, thanks to the globalization of this deep, profound artificial intelligence. Now everyone can have a completely customized model that is willing to listen to all their desires and attend to their interests in a way in which you can therefore find all the things that you care for, all the things that you want to see, to listen, to go for and whatnot. Even if that sounds correct, it isn't entirely true that, yeah, that solves the issue. No, you still need to have a minimal clue about what you want to do, and sometimes, surprisingly enough, growing up doesn't really mean that everything else is going to be guaranteed just because you got to grow up. Like, in a sense, not. There is a horrible usage of that word for some absolutely bad things in terms of horrible justifications and whatnot, thanks to that very same argument. But in a sense, it is true that sadly, age can in many cases just represent a number. Because it doesn't imply, being X number doesn't imply that we are going to be capable of dealing with things far more better than someone of a lower number or whatnot. It doesn't, once again, age itself doesn't make things be guaranteed. And sadly, the assumption that exists of, no, they will happen, don't worry about it. That so much, I am there. Yeah. That so much gets normalized as this is going to be the case, this is going to be the present thing and whatnot, and this is going to be what everyone gets to see and everyone gets to accept under those pretenses is also counterproductive, because in the end, yeah, unavoidably, it doesn't exactly work like that. It doesn't exactly justify or make. Yeah, it doesn't, simply because we say that it can serve some purpose, doesn't make the thing itself actually be useful. There is effect of placebo ends its usefulness after some point. And sadly, with all of these things, we might as well have reached the final point of the effect of the placebo effect long ago, to a point in which it actually requires a lot more input from the people, a lot more interest in generating something, a lot more than what we actually get to have. And part of that also is, as always, the whole, and that implies that we also have to try to do some things, that we have to try to work on some stuff, that we have to try to X or Y, and that is always. I like to think that my life is good, but if I have to keep on working, I don't really know how much of a good thing it actually is. Isn't it an implied message, basically, that because it is good, I don't really have much more to do? That I can literally exist because it literally is good? If a bad life is the one in which there are always improvements to be making, no? Supposedly? Supposedly. So, with such assumptions on our backs, then it always has that, once again, strange sensation on it of, what? Is this really what's the way that we're choosing? Is this really the thing that we're going for? Is this really? And I don't know. Life is a funny place. The world, existence is a funny thing once you actually consider it from the perspective of all of those weights that don't really seem to play that much of a role, actually. Okay. Why is the... I need this to not be overloading. And why, you might ask yourself. Because when it is overloading, all the projectiles that it shoots will, simply because they are overcharged, will damage me. Simply because of that quality. Like, it implies that it hits me with their electric aura. Okay, it didn't hit me. Amazing. I mean, I can unavoidably try to log in and win, but for that to actually happen, wait, am I voted actually? No. No, indeed, I got way too confident. How much HP did it have left? Did it say literally 1 HP? I didn't saw that number, and I will assume it was wrong. But yeah, I wanted to establish that from the very beginning. I am not here to try to lie and say, no, yeah, I am good at this. Not here. Not under these conditions. If we play a normal run, I think like almost anyone can do a good enough show to not lose, but like this, no, I cannot. I cannot win. I can win trying to win, and I cannot. I think the character is the problem also, to some degree, but quite a really sad start. Anyways. And I don't know, I haven't getting to watch some stuff, and I feel like one of the funniest things that happens in the consumption of media is the whole aspect of also how so many of the things that you get to see can be something that is... I like it to some degree. To some degree, I also find it irritating. How many of the messages that you get to encounter out there are purposely made in an incredibly general way, like, this doesn't truly apply to me. I can assume that it does, but it doesn't truly apply to me. I can believe that it pertains to my life in some way or another, while it doesn't truly do so, and that lets me have the sensation of being a lot more important for this world in terms of I don't have to believe that I am treated just like everyone else because therefore, or because whenever there is something that is targeting myself. There is this one specific idea and also that pertains to my own person and whatnot. And that part of the content of media in general I don't really like, because much of it is I express it as if everyone was actually aware of that. In most cases, you don't really feel like it is consciously happening. The whole machinations that are put into place for you to not actually have to realize, to have to contend with the reality that, yeah, this is an incredibly generic idea. This is an incredibly generic metaphor, an incredibly basic way of talking about this problem, this situation, this anything. And it barely works to get some point across. But it doesn't really have any unique quality or any particularity that gives it that much more importance, meaning anything. It is barely anything at all to begin with. And much of the things that we have nowadays have that. And in media, the problem is that's the norm. Like, unavoidably you're going to encounter so many things that seem to make some sense, that seem to try to communicate something, because they do, not like things are entirely meaningless, but rather the problem of that so many of those things also have to deal with me, and so many of those things also have some part to play in my own life when that doesn't happen. So much of the current existence, so much of the current human existence rely on the necessity of a message being made for us, and the sudden also realization of, oh no, yeah, almost nothing truly tries to speak to me particularly. I make most of the work to try to say that it happens, but it in itself doesn't really seem to happen that much. And I don't know, I feel like this one. It is sad to see so much of those be present during our day-to-day life, basically. So much of nothingness going around today, which, yeah, it's a bad way to express it. Perhaps there are less negative ones, but so much of nothingness for the person itself being done that we have to assume and interpret so many metaphors as if they truly pertain to us. So much of the work that also has to happen being entirely done from a perspective of, okay, if you are lucky, if you can... I love how every single boss that isn't the fucking... Yes, every single boss that isn't the fucking Titan has been overloaded. You can play without the modifier. I entirely can. I can also not play this game. I mean, like, no, without it. I know that's reality, sadly. But the hell of our very own choosing is the one that we love the most. It's the one that lets us do as many things as we want to. Anything else doesn't get to feel that great. But yeah, I was saying. And I don't know, so many of those ideas, realizations and whatnot feel strange. In a way, because unavoidably doesn't really seem to be the necessary thing to consider at all in terms of you have to believe, to wonder, to desire any revelation of that sort. It happens, and if it happens, good enough. But if it doesn't happen, also great. Not because it is great, but because it doesn't matter. You can live your entire life under the assumption that, so many of the metaphors and so many of the characters. The whole... Nowadays, we have created yet another meme to express the very same reality that has always been present, the literally me stuff and whatnot, you know? And all of that tries to portray or lets us minimally interpret and accept the... Isn't it so crazy that we are so willing to sometimes attribute the characters that we see to ourselves to believe that they are unequivocally made to refer to us, to cater to what we are and what not? And all of that is discussed to a basic degree, not entirely, not honestly, with as much intensity. And I don't know, sadly, I talk about intensity as if it was that the only place. In general, I don't know, sadly nowadays, intensity almost in everything has been negated in some way or another, declared as useless or dangerous or damaging to the person or whatnot. The whole aspect of, I haven't actually tried to think about it from a different perspective, not entirely associated with this, but in a similar line of thought, basically, of, isn't it crazy how even stuff like the conception, the notions of work end up becoming that much abandoned, that much disparaged, how even the desire to accomplish something great is now becoming a symbol for not just or not particularly toxicity, but you're killing yourself if you're trying to learn out these things. You're destroying yourself if you're trying to have any interest whatsoever in these matters and whatnot. I don't know, I feel like now a vagrant that doesn't kill me. Amazing. Isn't life so right? And I don't know, yeah, I feel like honestly, there are some cases in which it doesn't feel entirely justified, like, yeah, the abandonment of our responsibilities when it comes to the reality of, I want all of these things, and I want to get, to have something that feels right, no? In that occurrence, it is minimally understandable that, yeah, you need to navigate the situation with a lot of care, basically. But in those other places, why has now something that that has always before existed under a completely different object recently gets called one of the worst things to have, one of the worst things to allow in our life and whatnot? Is it really that negative? I'm not entirely willing to accept what they are proposing to me. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not entirely willing to accept the tune that, yeah, you know what? Oh my god, I have another equipment. I do have another equipment, sorry. This is the poor run because I literally have only 3 items and 33% of the 33, yeah, percent of those items are active items so far, so something tells me that I'm not going to really win. I wonder what, brother. But well, yeah, I was saying basically. And I don't know, it's strange to see all of that. I feel like life nowadays has so much of that sensation of estrangement, of wonderfully unexplainable things to it. Like, why is this the case exactly? Why have we let this thing be like it is now? Like, was there any actual explanation? So much, to some degree, I can deal and I can accept the aspect of, yeah, I grow up myself with the belief that so many people around me have a life figured out, while that is not the case at all. Understandable, but that in general there are so many other things unexplained. Like, universally speaking, we have so many aspects that seem to possess no coherent explanation whatsoever. That much. The whole world seems to possess no true answer for so many things. Really? Weren't we as a civilization so old and so much more capable of things? What happened with all of that? With all of those notions and all of those sayings and all of those impressions that you would always stand to yourself when you're much younger and whatnot? You know, the whole aspect of, no, yeah, because here you have come to a time in history in which most of the important answers of the universe seem to have already been, sorry, the opposite. So many of the questions of the universe seem to have already been answered, and that doesn't really seem to be the case. I don't really talk with others and feel like we have that much of a clue about multiple subjects. And once again, not from a perspective of a singularity. I myself might not be capable of grasping even 10% of the things that matter, but in general, in universally speaking, once again, that impression remains and feels so real in itself of, yeah, there is truly no explanation for so much of what happens, for so much of what we have, for so much of what we have done, so much of what we have hoped for and whatnot. Really? That's reasonable somehow? I don't feel like it is. I don't feel like it gets to be at all reasonable, in a way, basically. Also, I hate these enemies simply because they jump onto me. Oh my god! Yeah. You know what's the best thing? We have to try it. Actually, let me take a break and drink some water. Hi. My man. Why is the game entirely silent? What happened? Literally no noise whatsoever? What? But well. Give me... We can do it, man. At some point we're going to win. I have to tell myself otherwise. We have 2 more hours to actually keep on trying this before I finally decide to go up for the... Otherwise, I will actually have to call it a day. I don't think so, right? Like, for sure it isn't going to happen. So. We end up the stream without me having even one run. Yeah, right? Okay, let's see. Is this a good overloading magma? Amazing. Probably even the worst magma worm to it. But it doesn't matter. No. And there... Yes, that is the run. Amazing. I don't know, so much of the run also relies on a kind of RNG that I don't get at all that is good. I said it before, I have been trying to accomplish at least one win under these conditions for, at this point, I don't know, perhaps multiple days indeed, yeah, but with more precision. In many of the attempts, what lets me get the furthest is simply a set that actually has healing robots instead of this. In this case, so far it seems to have nothing this map. But well, we can keep on restarting at some point, it's going to happen, or most importantly also, enemies decide to drop me things actually, which will help me, instead of having to rely on spawns. Like, everything is RNC anyway, so... Just wonder. But yeah, you see, this is also something that I like to mention so many times of, yeah, once you can actually play the game with conditions like this, you can realize that the problem isn't even remotely close what the game does or doesn't do in relationship to the RNG itself. I get to have entire full control over the items that I get once they finally drop. You're trying to tell me that actually nothing that I get makes guarantees the run to be won? So, either something is horribly wrong, or, as always, it wasn't really that important. There was another layer, the eternal layer of, and how good is the player itself? But anyways, all of this to just try to say that I will finally get adapted to it at some point and we're going to win, and once we do so, life is going to be great. It's peak on steroids, basically, in raw comparison. But anyways, going back to the point that I was trying to make, basically, that yeah, and I don't know, I feel like when I wear it, it's always a strange sensation to have to realize to even in itself, sometimes try to talk about it at all. How much so many parts of life that require that flavorfulness that we seem to not want to discuss in any way, in any manner, at any length. So much of the things that we should be discussing, getting filtered through those lenses of, oh no, yeah, but we are not the right people. So many of the things that seem to possess an importance, that seem to generate an impact on our very lives, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Getting also addressed, categorized as, no, we cannot do that, we cannot talk about that, we cannot mention that, we cannot go over that. When in reality, it doesn't really feel like it is absolutely true in terms of, correctly. We cannot even begin the conversation of this because it might be the most dangerous thing to do ever. Not absolutely, not entirely, not wholeheartedly, so to speak, There are always some difficulties when we are trying to talk about stuff in general, like basic denomination. There are problems that arise in any communication. It doesn't matter which one. So you try to act like because they will exist, that's bad. That feels so strange now. That feels so counterintuitive even. So much of life getting called not even unimportant, but rather necessary to avoid because they might bring those things forward. So much of the avoidance of those very same aspects, also more so that when you look out there, you see other people are allowing in their life. It's not like they are entirely distractful, so to speak, Because, once again, this is why I was trying to say all of this and go back to the example of particularly because you look at people who have a lot of work, who put a lot of themselves into doing something that quote unquote matters in that sense of dedicating their life to a work which unavoidably prerequisite they get to actually like, which most cases doesn't truly happen. Most people, the eternal situation, that one, is far more prevalent, like since always. I don't really work in something that I like, I just work in something that fits me. And because I chose to do that, every single day of my life is filled with a little bit of dread, a little bit of anger, a little bit of anguish, because unavoidably in doing so I am forcing myself to do something that I, in the end, in the back of my mind, I understand I don't really enjoy. And as I continue to do so, I guarantee even more dissatisfaction, as it will unavoidably keep on existing under those very same lights. But I also cannot truly get a reel of my work, because I know that it will bring to me also a lot more displeasure, Also, I have a crazy theory, but what if we actually try to farm for a little bit before I leave here? Because I only have 4 items. If it isn't your version, indeed, welcome. I was actually going to say that word, but it has been sexualized so much. Welcome, father. There we go. How am I? I am so right, father. Have you brought bread to your house? Can we eat something today, or shall we starve again, father? Do you spend everything on gambling, dear father, or have you thought out your family for once? Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Say that. What the fuck? No. What did I say? That doesn't sound like a father at all, Zero to it. That's why we chose to... What the fuck? It one-shot my bot? Amazing. That's why Mother was right when she said that we should not talk to you anymore. Why? Great question. I don't know. I'm but a poor little boy. Excuse me, mother. Your appearance misled me. I have forgotten that it taught us to not judge so rapidly, to not be so willing to do things that might not be real to others. I failed you. I failed you. Don't kill me, please. No, I will not do that. I will remain here, safe from your poison. It is. If it is, why don't you first show me that it is safe to drink? With an example, huh? I know you're trying to kill me. I won't fall for it. Anyways, do you really? What is the evidence for that claim? Did you actually? I don't know. Doesn't seem to be the case. Ignorant? Sorry. Such is life. Sometimes we do such things, you know? And sometimes that can happen. But don't worry about it. Anyways, here we are. Play. As you can see, video game. Wow. No. Sorry. Without being sarcastic now. They don't actually win a run. That's the only goal currently. So far, I don't have a counter for restarts, and if I had one, I would despair, because I have restarted way too many times at this point already. But probably like 10 or 15 times I have restarted already, and yeah, still no win whatsoever. It can happen sometimes. If you want something hard enough, you have to work for it, even if it requires multiple attempts, you know? So, such is life. Such is our world, basically. Also, can't I overwhelm enemies with, like, enough of those missiles? It seems to be possible. I don't think it entirely is, but possible enough to at least attempt that, no? Like, if I actually get to survive this, like, I know to actually die. How I played? Yeah, I have like 400 hours on Terraria actually, and that is without even considering how many hours extra I do have when I played. While I didn't even have it bought on Steam, so yeah, I have played it basically. No. The question is on stream. No, I haven't. I haven't thinking about it, but there is a problem. I like to play Terraria, but I don't like to play vanilla Terraria. That vanilla is way too boring for me. I prefer my overpower, my power trip fantasy, where I can have 1,000 mods that don't make progression incredibly slow. So I want today. I finally say, yeah, to play Terraria here. I will do so, but after having it all, perhaps 30 mods or so. And it's a pain in the ass, like it has always been. So when that happens, we're all going to celebrate. Isn't it perfectly doable vanilla on like a small world or something? Yeah, you can win. I mean, I don't like it myself. I don't like vanilla, not that it isn't winnable. I just don't enjoy it. I think there are like, with all the shit, I want to get a UFO, you win? Yeah, basically. But that's like into late game, into hardcore, basically. Once you finally activate hardcore, no, hard mode, not hardcore, hard mode. You finally get access to that, and I think it is like around the progression point of like having beaten the mecha bosses and all of that too, so it's very deep into the. But the point is, you can win. Vanilla. I just myself don't look at it with eyes with affection in my eyes, basically. Yeah, let's say like that. But it's a great game, I have to admit. But it is even greater once you actually have mods. That's what I was trying to say, yes. So yeah, one day we will have here the what's the meme? All the promises for the future, for a future that might as well never come. But such is life. If we don't promise things, if we don't look forward to something that might not happen, what are we then? Isn't it better to have hope for something, even if it might never come true, than to not hope for anything at all because things might not get to be? Isn't that unfair? Haven't we come to this world to try? We don't even know if we are going to win. Success isn't guaranteed itself, right? So why not attempt to believe even for a second? Why be so cynical to say no, this, no, because it won't happen? No, that's bad, right? But point is, I'm getting absolutely mentally destroyed by this game. It's like, it's the repetition of trying to win and getting time and time again stomped by yet another avoidable issue. But at least it lets you understand that you aren't really all that great if you keep on dying here. Simply put, no? Amazing, amazing. I almost died actually. Anyways, I am clip farming. Don't worry about my reaction. It isn't honest at all. How many hours are we in here? I feel like we have 2 hours here already. Can this torture be done? And an easy way will be to disable the modifier that makes every single enemy be special. Also, no, wait, I finally remember something that I thought about. Wow, like I never thought about anything. But no, I had a remembrance moment. Now that I said that line of every enemy is special, therefore no enemy is special. You know that line? Have you ever watched Disney? What is it? The Incredibles. In that movie, that line is like, I don't know if it is that much of a main message. I know people paid a lot of attention, like kids know it, or those who grew up with the movie. At this point, I don't know how many kids actually know it. But yeah, those who grew up with the movie can very well say, yeah, this is like one of the central ideas of the movie. The whole aspect of how the main bad guy decides to hate everyone. What's the special thing? Or all those who get to be special for their special quality, and creates a whole project to go against them under the idea that in itself it is actually bad to have so many mutants exist in the world, because and that's where the conclusion comes of in reality, if everyone is special, then no one actually gets to be. So it actually is bad to have special people exist. And I have been trying to think about it, not directly, not like, wow, today I'm going to sit down and analyze this movie, but I realized, according with that message, isn't it crazy that we have also stuff like everyone is experiencing stuff like depression, everyone is encountering more symptoms of stuff like, okay, this was incredibly heavy, way too fast, but yeah, symptoms of stuff like, yeah, now everyone seems to be to some degree neurodiverse and whatnot. Doesn't the message apply there? Like, why, when it comes to bad things, it remains true that, yeah, if we are all special, then nobody is really special. But when it comes to these other things, it is absolutely acceptable that, yeah, you know what? It's this thing that is bad. It's totally fine that we all have it. Like, even more also, okay. One thing, obvious necessary distinction is, one thing is to be talking about a physical condition, like, I don't know, we can all out of nowhere have a genetic condition that makes us out of nowhere have any future, current and future person that is born have, instead of 2 legs, only one for some reason, and that becomes a problem. And we can say that that is in itself the case, that is something bad, yeah, in some way it isn't entirely clear, but yeah, point is, it is something real and something bad and something useful to accept as, wow, this is truly the case, isn't this then negative to let it be? Also, why am I getting so many cases? What the fuck is wrong? Is this the run, actually? I have enough mysterious vials actually capable of winning. At the very least, I am the fittest boss. Luck is actually my side in this run. No way. We won't have to grind, get another 20 more retries until I win? No way. Unbelievable. Success sometimes comes. You just have to keep looking for it. Yeah. Reference to the stream title. But no, anyway, continuing with what I was saying, basically. But yeah. And I don't know, I feel like on a way that whole reasoning, when it comes to unobservable phenomena, like simpler words, when it comes to things that happen to people that are qualified as those special things and whatnot, it gets way too easily accepted as something bad in some manner that, yeah, you know what? We all have these things happening to us, and that means that we are doing something wrong. That means that we have something wrong with us. That means that this thing in itself is meaningless now also. When in reality, it doesn't truly seem to be entirely the case, so to speak. In terms of more than anything else, isn't it strange that truly now? Also, why am I getting actually so many drops? What the fuck is going on? This is one of the luckiest run I have actually gotten. I don't think I have gotten that many drops ever on a first level. But yeah, I was saying, so many of those encounters with aspects of a person that we have gotten accustomed to calling bad, which, if they were not that they aren't really that bad. Yes, they are bad, but the whole connotation of, but if they are that bad, how can it happen that everyone has them in that sense of, yeah, once again, everyone nowadays is in some way or another neurodiverse, and everyone is in some way or another being affected by these phenomena. Everyone is nowadays going under these situations. Everyone is being influenced by this or that, by... Isn't it weird that it actually seems to try to be the message? I don't truly think it is, or, okay, not that I don't think it is the message, I don't think it is a correct idea. It seems to be a conception that we have. I don't truly think it is absolutely right to say so, to act according to that, basically. I feel like it is an honest acceptance that, yeah, you know what? We all are being destroyed by this. We are all being affected by that. These guys are absolutely killing me, actually. And I still need more healing. How much healing do I need to survive? I love not having enough healing to survive. Favorite part. I will activate this. I will probably die and I will rage quit. No? Amazing. And actually, she was, for once? No way. The game has been so generous with me. Also, no item drops at all. Not even, okay, it was, yeah. When I avoided it, it was like the mandatory drop. Thank you so much for that. So generous for that. But continuing with what I was trying to say then, yeah. And I don't know, I feel like unavoidably so many of those concepts have become normalized to the degree to which isn't it actually bad, negative, and detrimental to have it also normalized as completely bad things if they don't truly affect us that much. Or on the other hand, we have been given at least the possibility to think out them as not all that influential. We can say that they exist. Like, for example, rephrasing what I mentioned before of yeah, we all seem to be affected nowadays by this neurodivergency uprise, no? Okay. Is it then truly something that bad? Or because the conception, at least from a viewpoint of what anyone previously used to say, isn't that supposedly bad? Then, no, unavoidably, then maybe we are being at least capable of talking about it as if it truly wasn't all that negative. Something has to be wrong at some point, no? Either it isn't really that bad, or it cannot happen that everyone has it. Because it's not, the conception tries to go along the lines of, I don't feel like it is entirely correct that, yeah, because this has become the norm, now we are all living a bad life, a worse life, basically. I am pretty sure that's not the case. I don't feel like, for example, the whole, nowadays it is a meme, no? Yet again with memes, but the whole meme of finally getting to understand that older people also have conditions of this kind, and the analysis and re-evaluation of, this older person that I used to know also did suffer from that, they did go through that, did happen to see themselves affected by this. We just didn't have enough words to mention it in the way in which we do now. We didn't have enough ways to talk about it like we do now and whatnot. Like, example, we didn't have enough ways to say that, this person took a break to self-regulate. If you say that, you will sound like crazy to an older person who tries to hear you speak out him as somebody so psychologically distinct to need to do those coping mechanisms, for example, no? But in itself it happened, and in the judgment is true. The new levels that we possess apply to older things too, unsurprisingly, but the desire to believe that so much of what we have right now doesn't fall under that category, isn't that false? Like, isn't it unreal to believe that so much of what happens does go through that lens of, and luckily enough, we all have a lot more to do with this situation than what we believed before? Isn't it great, basically, to be capable of saying, we seem to be far more neurodivergent than what we used to believe before? It's, once again, the loss of the tag, making it look like it truly was that necessary. I don't feel like it was that necessary. I feel like it rather had a lot more appreciation when it really didn't need any. Or so much of the conditions that we used to call important getting called so, not because they really are in any manner important, but rather simply because we associated ourselves to it in that manner, and we got accustomed to saying, you know what, it's so right to have this be, I guess. Like, normality as the standard of greatness, when in reality, There is no such normalcy within almost any one of us. And even when there is a degree of it, even when we do possess normalcy in our lives and whatnot, it doesn't truly mean that much in general. There is a diffusal in a wider sense of what does it actually mean to have all of that. And it's, once again, my evaluation came from that aspect too of, what? How come so many of the things that we used to have before, under those categories, are now so much less important and so much less significant and whatnot? Shouldn't it be like quite the contrary? That all of those things that we used to be so interested on still remain as relevant? I don't feel like it is happening at all. I don't feel like I see it being the case at all. So much of those very same realizations coming to light to allow us to finally say, doesn't really have that much of an effect on us. Also, I chose to tell you wrong. It happened. I didn't want to check the wiki. Simply out of stubbornness, actually. I should have done so that I can know what the fuck am I choosing, but don't you like to guess yourself too sometimes? Isn't life better with a little bit of randomness? Not like it is random already to get the ropes or not of items, so why not also add this randomness of I have no fucking clue what I'm choosing, like with the 90% of the items. I only know by memory 3, but we have to guess everything else. Yes. The guessing game is my favorite game within this game. The meta guessing game. But yeah, anyways, I was saying basically. And I don't know, I feel like really, it has a strange quality to it. And sadly, I also encounter like it. Doesn't matter. Eh? What do you mean it doesn't matter? So many of the things that we seem to be trusting on out of nowhere have no importance, and you truly believe that it doesn't matter? Or the judgments that we used to impose on those things were completely wrong, and you're trying to actually tell me that it doesn't matter, that we lived with such assumptions for so long, and now we have to reevaluate and reassess and approach from a completely different perspective things that I don't think we don't have to, but rather it's strange to need to do so, huh? Alright, let's see, can I actually win? Wisp? What the fuck is the Wisp? Ah, this guy. If it cannot cross here, I think I can win. Okay, no! I have no lifesteal, I forgot about that tiny part. Can happen. Can entirely happen. It's the funniest part. I'm there. No, I'm not. Yeah. At least I have actually enough reason to not instantaneously die the moment in which I get low HP by one singular blow. Yeah. Why is this so hard? But I think I can win actually. I am not actually being optimistic, I believe. In this case, I do believe. Can I actually? Can I actually? Something tells me that. Maybe. I survived. No, I didn't. I'm goat actually. Okay. Give me a second. I am panicking, but internally, and thank God you don't get to hear it. Okay. Good enough. Now the problem is, can I actually like easily win? I don't feel like I can. Who is healing all those enemies? Whatever it was, it died, I suppose. At least, so great. But yeah, this actually it looks like a great run. Not surprisingly enough. I need to actually be capable of surviving, which I'm struggling way too much with. I got the opportunity to buy. Yeah, I entirely got the chance to buy some lifesteal and I forgot to do so. Can happen, can happen. Sometimes you know entirely well what you have to do and you still forget to do so. The question is why? Impossible to actually answer it, but it happens. Okay, great. What the fuck? It releases multiple wisps once it dies? Okay, I understand that. Okay, that's that. Okay, good enough. So, probably this is the run. Something tells me that this is it. I wouldn't entirely trust my feelings in that sense. Maybe not yet. I think I need like at least one special item because I have none so far, but we will see. You know what? Actually, okay, let me do this. Let me drink some water. And let me do this. Let me take a tiny break before I actually. Why? Why is pausing making the music stop? Amazing. So if I pause, we have no music. Don't you love that? Don't you prefer that so much? Okay. Anyways, yeah. I guess we are going to have to contemplate the emptiness of existence from the silence that is the absolute nothingness that remains once I actually leave. So yeah, give me a second. I will take a tiny break. Expression is I don't know, right? So yeah, give me 1 second. I will be back in like how long? 2 minutes or so. See you until 10. Now, yeah. Look at the wall and focus. Calm down, breathe, and feel your lungs being filled with air. I don't know. Yeah, give me a second. Did you know if you get up and stretch, sometimes you actually can hear some vertebrae crack. Ah, I'm back. What is here? Good evening. We are back. I never considered that, but taking into consideration how funny everything is with Twitch, isn't the golem that I have on my head, the GIF, the moving GIF, decreasing the overall bitrate simply because it's constantly there? I never had that realization until right now, but who are we to actually care about that, no? 5% more, 5% less bitrate, yeah, doesn't matter. What the fuck? Ah, these are the armored monsters, I remember them. They are not really that bad. Also, yeah, this is probably the run. Something tells me. Something gives me that impression. I cannot exactly tell you why. Yet, like, I only have the sensation. I am not entirely sure, so we cannot rush to conclusions yet. Maybe later, maybe once things look even more amazing. What the fuck is that? What is that bonus? They are resilient to everything? What does that mean? Like, is that only unique to Monsoon or something? Probably, I don't know. Who knows, anyways. Where was I? On what I was trying to say before? Ah, yeah, the whole aspect. Oh, sorry. I didn't actually drink that much water, so do I haven't actually. No. Who wants to know about that? But yeah, excuse me. I have been actually trying to not drink as much water. Finally, I realized something funny. I used to get many cramps throughout my body. Funnily enough, it happens if you decrease the consumption of liquids when you don't need it, that you stop having them. Did you know? Amazing. Life is so amazing once you actually can understand the stuff that happens to you. So yeah, because of that, I have, and I am still working on not consuming as much liquids when I don't really need to. And one of the it's not really okay. I can give you a proper analysis. It's not really even necessary. I say that in relationship with the other. Ah, yeah, that's why I go off. Not really, not really. It has almost nothing to do with that actually. It has a lot more to do with the whole aspect of, oh no, yeah, you have to remember to clear your throat and all of that, and all of those similar messages that are always working in the back of the minds that let you believe that, ah, yeah, this is what you have to be working on, this is what you have to be interested on, and whatnot. And it's sometimes quite difficult to actually remember that, no, yeah, it's not entirely true. It sounds minimally correct, it isn't, actually. Also, yeah, I am melting through this, actually. This is so good, man. We made it. We finally made it. I just need to not get too focused. I can allow myself a little bit of lost of focus, but not too much. I don't want to. How much? 25 minutes or so. I want to finish this run. Please excuse me for what the fuck are these enemies? For being greedy like that, yes. But I am just a lonely human being who has the same nature that everyone else does. I cannot avoid what to. Do I really want that? No. Instantaneously, I can tell you. No, not really. Also, can't I just literally farm bosses like this? Since they are going to continuously be spawning like that. Also, yeah, we have the venomous guy over here. I don't know actually if I wanted to fight him. Like, I out of nature, I don't know if I actually can win. Like, I assume I can. The bosses aren't really that difficult in this game in general, but sometimes overconfidence can be your very downfall, you know? But yeah, I lost myself when I was trying to begin the explanation of what I actually wanted to say. Excuse me. And I don't know, so many of the... Holy, what the fuck? I got... What the fuck was that enemy? It two-shot at me. What? Amazing. I cannot even be. What happened? Well, wasn't I worried about losing a run? There we go. That's how you confront your problems. The very best method ever. You literally face them like that. Climbing creates trash. Razor. Which isn't something this one, right? Armor. Tough times. This is what I need to start getting, I guess. I entirely forgot about this item. But I didn't really get that many green items anyways to be saying like, no, yeah, you know what? You didn't get exactly what you needed. Yeah. You will die. So real for that, Doomfy. So absolutely correct for that statement. Anyways. Let's try again. We have 1 more hour. 1 more hour to win 1 run. And it was going so well. Anyways, it can entirely happen. But yeah. I was basically on the line of all those things that get said. I was in the particular analysis of that one line of, if everyone is super, then no one is. But I don't know, I think there are way too many of those existing around in multiple senses, or also what I got to do, the whole concept of, and the moment in which you take it out of the context of, only when you are talking about special people, isn't it also applied to incredibly unclear negative things? Aren't most of the problems that we possess nowadays of that characteristic of, it doesn't seem to really make that much sense? That, or we have a problem. We all might as well have some problems, like for example, it's a tough topic to some degree, but it isn't really that tough, man. We can handle a little bit of fucking tough talk, you know? Point is that, whenever you talk about one of the most common things to see out there nowadays is in some way or another depression, unavoidably. So, inside of that conversation, isn't it really strange that nowadays that seems to be so much the case, so much the common thing? Not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm not trying to go for that conclusion. That's not my point. I don't argue for that. I'm arguing that no, to some degree, isn't it strange to see how much it has become normal to categorize so many aspects of life under certain flags that don't really seem to serve an actual purpose. Just get to exist so that we don't have to worry about doing anything else with them. The notion of, by having a category, I can leave this thing be here and I have no further need to worry about doing something about it. Like, for example, if we don't talk about some personal sadness, some personal problem, something that attains to me, that pertains to my own existence. Not to some degree it's actually bad, but deal with me for a second. Even if it is a reasonable statement that, yeah, by having the capacity to categorize things more deeply, more properly, more correctly, and to assess the deepness, the importance of things with all the correctness that they require, then we finally get the opportunity to talk, to discuss, and to deal with them far more appropriately. In that case also, therefore, it is a requirement that we can categorize such issues so that we can later on dispose of them in the correct way, because otherwise, if we do not attempt to make them be the right thing, if we do not attempt to make them be what is the appropriate term that they should be, we are only going to do harm to those who might as well be having this one thing that we didn't bother specifying into. We might as well be harming those who we never worried about addressing directly, and that is when I feel like a problem happens in terms of, but how many of those things are actually honest callings in terms of, yeah, this is entirely, what the fuck is this cereal? This is literally nothing. Anyways, whatever. Hermoso kill. Let me lower that. But yeah, I was saying, and I don't know, it's in the consideration of all of those aspects, it carries with it, I feel like, a strange sensation related to why is this then accepted, called, or seen as normal, if so much of what we try to do is for the sake of helping others. How can it actually be that useful that we now blurry more and more the line? We, first and foremost, no? If it is truly an issue, why are we so unwilling to try to actually solve it in any way? You can hear about its existence, you don't really hear about, yeah, we're working so hard, we're trying to do all of these things to make it disappear. You need to go incredibly deep to find somebody who is actually involved with all of that process. And even then, it isn't entirely guaranteed that that is happening, you know? It is said that it might be occurring. It is told that it could be happening, but it doesn't really seem to be the case in most of those cases. You know, like, yeah, we're all so worried, we're all so wishing for this to not be anymore the case. We're all so affected by this problem, by this situation, by this thing. I don't know. Truly, is that the case? Actually, I look back and I don't see that many solutions being proposed, that many projects being made in order to once again get rid of the problem itself, no? I hear people talking about the problem, great enough, but I don't see stuff making it not exist anymore. And okay, there is always, I remember something incredibly important to have in mind when it comes to these theories and whatnot. The whole notion that has served us to hide away from so many situations is it's difficult to be capable of doing something good if we have so much awareness about all the problems that exist, and even more so if the impossibility of actually solving it is so high. It might as well be much better, much more appropriate for us to remain silent, because to simply bring it up and not to do something that could get rid of it just increments the situation. Like, the proper way to see it is with the whole the eternally famous what is it? I don't know if it is an actual experiment. The whole analysis of the broken window or something like that, basically. Where if there is a broken window, the proper exert that you should be capable of taking is, as long as there is no solution given to that problem, what the impression of everyone will be is, yeah, it's fine then to do these kind of problematic things, and it is fine then to also contribute to the problem itself, because we ourselves don't have to actually worry about solving it. We ourselves don't have to actually worry about getting rid of what causes the problem. We can all just remain happy that we know that it exists and it isn't affecting us, but we don't have to actually want to get rid of it ourselves. And that isn't entirely true, unavoidably. Give me a second. I actually want to understand what the fuck am I picking up. This. I think this actually planned. Okay, next probably we need to take the hotel thing with me. Okay, anyways, another thing. Yeah, it's the strangeness of, on one hand, acceptable enough that, yeah, we're also willing to say that it is bad to have these things happen, but in the case of it actually mattering, what matters is also getting a solution. Otherwise, because nothing is actually being done to solve the problem, the impression remains that, yeah, we can also do something bad. Okay, understandable enough assertion, but is that truly the case? I don't really feel like anyone at all is working on a way to solve it. Like, I don't know. We have so many great people doing so many things, so much work in so many aspects, in so many fields of knowledge and whatnot, yes. But we also, at the same time, I don't really feel like I have the capacity to name one person that is working on that problem specifically, you know? Yeah, we have an entire field dedicated to that. Unavoidably and surprisingly, it would have been much more worse if we didn't even cover that, you know? But to just have that doesn't really give the problem itself a solution, just makes the reality that it could get many more people working on it, or it seems to imply that therefore people are for sure working on those things. An even bigger impression and whatnot, but it isn't really the case. It is an implication that I made myself. It is an assumption that I have. It doesn't really happen in reality, so to speak. It isn't exactly what goes on. It isn't a guarantee, basically. And once that is the case, I feel like, I don't know, so much of reality based on those things, so much of life itself, of the current modern existence that we have based on those assumptions, and feels so weird simply because of that very sensation as, yeah, you know what, it's fine. It doesn't really matter that we're not doing anything, that we're not solving anything. It's all good because someone else might take care of that. Isn't so much of the current existence to some degree, therefore becoming the avoidance of any particular responsibility from the aspect of the individual, so much of the, once again, trying to go back to what I was trying to propose before, so much of things that seem to matter getting called addressed as unimportant, or even if they are incredibly useful to be capable of looking at. No necessity for anyone to actually impart the lessons, teach you that you have things that you could look forward to, teach you that you could have a hope towards learning something, towards finding a field of knowledge that can passionately ignite a flame on you that you are willing to go for, to go after. All of those things are simply mentioned as, yeah, it could happen, it can maybe exist in some way, but they're never entirely addressed as something important, something meaningful. What? How many things are actually remaining on that very same realm of, yeah, you know what, this happens, but nobody here already seems to be interested in saying anything substance about it. So we shall remain silent about it. For the sake of what, actually? For the sake of avoiding saying something bad, like, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. Great, so amazing, so good. What is something good to say then? Isn't so much of the judgment that we are creating out so many situations right now, making any thing to express. But by nature, isn't so much of the conversations in itself getting even called back into the realm of, oh no, yeah, this is also going to be something dangerous to mention at all. So we shall as well make sure that we don't say anything, lest we harm others, because otherwise we would end up unavoidably doing something bad. So, since when is the person so morally inclined, so called by for those desires to be correct and to not do such bad things? It's like the sense of morality getting elevated to a rate which no one really believes they operate. And that very same justification, because it sounds great enough already, it's beautiful to say that I am being morally correct, gives so much of a pass to anyone to say, no, yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter. What? Isn't so much of the conversations that we get to have, so much of the things that we get to see, so much of the stuff that gets to happen embedded on that very same nature that now we seem to relinquish simply? But such is the world, really, so no. Also, I'm probably pretty done with this level. I was expecting anything else, but got nothing, so don't do it out. Also, I have to admit, I think, I don't want to say it entirely wrong, but I am pretty sure I got like 1 or 2 red items through all the runs, not only in this run, through all the runs that I have played today. Like, in all these hours, only 2 red items? Really? How? Can happen, I guess. Bad luck. Better luck next time, I suppose. But also something that has a lot to do with those special items is fighting bosses and whatnot, so unavoidably I'm not really fighting that many things myself. I'm not that willing to be. Oh my god, why am I getting so many enemies? Can happen, I guess. At least I'm farming cash. Why is the spawn rate so fast actually? What's going on with this area? I'm pretty sure I never had an area spawn that many enemies. They don't stop, it's like a continuous stream. I kill a handful of them and even more spawn. What's up with that? Anyways. Okay, this guy is there, basically. What the? I got 2 bosses? Amazing. Can happen. Probably can happen. Or sure can happen. What if we lower the difficulty? I want to win 1 run. I don't want to leave here without winning. It's that bad the game, am I? Hey. At least I think I am consistently getting to like the 2nd level now, so slowly improving. Yes. But so well. But so well. Isn't it so amazing to try so hard, to fail so bad, to realize? But what is the problem? There is no other problem. There is nothing else to look at but oneself here. The person is way too capable of accomplishing all that it wishes for. The world doesn't let you know that until it is too late, until you have to actually confront that by yourself, and at that point, You already created too much of a strong image that made you believe that you were better, that you were not like the rest, that you will not fail, that failure isn't ever present in your life. So once that happens, once that occurs, once that presents itself to us, we're not completely destroyed by it. Because it was true all along. We have been incapable always since the very beginning. Not good at anything, but one wants to believe on that. One wants to say that it is true, one wants to... It has to be alive. One has to have some special predisposition, capacity, something good, something great. But sometimes it's just not there. Or, in general, the person never really had that to begin with. The problem was to sell it as a never-present quality that, no, yeah, you know, you have it. You have that one special thing, you know. When that isn't true at all. But we also live on hope. It's better to say that we have something, even if we don't, than to not want anything at all of that sort, you know. Anyways. Can I win this run? I don't think so, but maybe destiny isn't so much what happens, but rather what you get to believe out of what will happen. It was true. It was always true. We make our own destiny. We create the events that happen to us through our sheer will. And it is also in the will to attain success that one encounters satisfaction like no other. The idea and the belief, the desire to have something happen, that it finally comes true. Otherwise, I cannot say that it got accomplished. What changed this time around? Things don't look that much better in this case. There have been much nicer occasions, much greater opportunities. Yet this one will work out. Why? Nothing changed, but internally. Is that internal change sufficient enough to be that meaningful, that substantial? Maybe. It's the desire to believe in something of importance, on something of value, but not on something that great. I want to say that I have some control over my life, but I don't want to say that I have all of the control. That its life in its entirety is dictated by me. Not like that. I can control what I think out, what I say, what I hope for, what I go towards, what I am moved by, but can I really say that I am capable of also affecting even the things that happen in the very end? Can I say that even those dreams that I have and the capacity to reach them or not is my hands? Can I honestly look at that and believe that that is the case? It sounds too unreal. Too impossible to fully believe. After all, we are great, but not that great, aren't we? I want to like... Only I don't play well. No. Well, that is why we come here every day. to be challenged by things, to be tested until we can finally realize or we consume our very own greatness. Because it has always been present, the person who's need to finally accept it as such. And once that happens, so much else works out finally. But sometimes we can't ever do that. Sometimes we believe that we don't deserve to ever do that, and that's the final punishment that we impose onto ourselves. That final need for something that destroys the person. Okay. I think I can only move forward now, so yeah. Is this the run? I don't know anymore, my man. I have no clue. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't want to think out that. Just want to play. And if it goes well, I want to say that I won, but if it fails, don't bring that up to me. Don't remind me of my failure. Don't do that to me. I want to kill myself if I keep on jumping directly into the wire. One of these. Doesn't matter at all. That's why it's so easy to restart. At some point, next run for sure, I tell myself as I hit the try button, I want to keep on pressing forward. I cannot accept that I am not capable of winning. I have to believe something will change. Even if all things were right already before. Even if the perfect conditions already happened. I don't know, the only thing I actually fear is tomorrow waking up, trying and finding out that I won by doing literally nothing compared to today. But well, sometimes, what's the proper name for that whole thing? Like, the rest that you take that lets you finally iterate all of the things so that you come the next day even fresher, capable of dealing with the challenge finally. That whole concept basically applied to this. Maybe it will work out. And I guess yeah, early. If it doesn't happen today, tomorrow we're going to do the exact same thing until one day my torture is done here. And the best part is literally the same character. But that's why we come here, to repeat things until they finally succeed. To do over and over and over and over and over and over the same thing. Even if 1,000 times until it finally happens well enough. It's sometimes the point is to try. Not count how many times, simply to try. Finally comes the time to not try anymore. Be glad that it finished. But never believe that this is going to be it. Because if it is, because if the anticipation is what kills the possibility, the blessed are those who remain ignorant of it all, darling. I don't know, I'm losing it, my man. I am absolutely losing it. I want and wants to live here without having gone even one run, it's going to be... You don't get it. You cannot get it. Cannot visualize it. I have been trying since I think I woke up. I said, yeah, I have an itching to play this game. Why not do it? And also do this challenge. And since then, nothing? How? Literally only have one item, so I will appreciate you very much if you drop me anything. Besides the watch, like, the watch is a guaranteed, unavoidably the watch is a guaranteed. Thank God. At least for that much, but... Like, no, to some degree I was actually going to say, it will be so great to have... Oh my god! Red item, finally. The problem is, I will get too nervous, I will pick up something that is trash, and the run will be over because I don't need any of those things. And I am moving to the next area with how many items? Let's count together. First, the rusty knife, so that's one. And after that, this gets to be decided. Red item. What the fuck do I actually want? This? What was a good item actually? I don't even remember. This. Yeah. Adios, best friend. Okay. Oh my god. 3 items? Not only 2 fucking items? Amazing. This is it. This is the run finally. Watch me. 8 there. No, 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 why? Fuck. How much I hate every single big wisp. Every and any. What an annoying enemy. What an absolutely annoying enemy. Why does it have so much range and such a quick animation time? Oh my god. I like these enemies that literally teleport on top of me. No, I think I have lost all hope for doing something tells me that this isn't going to really happen. Something calls to me to avoid. It says it's time to say goodbye. It's time to if you want to be. It's just like all the other times it wants to happen. The person who wishes the most is the one who gets satisfied the least their desires. So I wanted to wait too much, still need to kill the desire to finally obtain what I want. Otherwise, it won't happen. too lost on fantasies about achieving all that one can imagine for the sake of what? For the sake of nothing. Nothing of importance at least. Oof. No! That was the Dio. You don't get it. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. Yeah, I am clip farming anyways. Don't worry about it. Don't you love to try again and again and not win? Total deaths 89. How many of those rank history? Wait. Can we check this? See, I wasn't lying when I told you that I haven't tried since earlier. At one point it's going to say win. At that point I'm going to be happy. 66 runs with this guy. How many do you think I won? No, I did my mandatory 3 hours. I am done, man. I am done. I call it quits for today. I cannot take it anymore. Cannot continue with this torture anymore. The person can only take so much. Was it right? No, it was misery. It was miserable today. I was miserable. Entirely miserable. But well, thank you. Thank you for everything, yes, yeah. Thank you for your time, your patience, your attention, your all. And yeah, it's all of this was an allegory. Tomorrow we're gonna be here exactly doing the same thing until it happens. And once it happens, life is going to be so great. Because we're gonna be done with that. But yeah. Thank you. Take care, hydrate, rest, everything. Be a person, be active, dream, try, even if you fail 1,000 times, keep trying. Maybe it happens. Maybe tomorrow we get done with this. So yeah, thank you. Take care. Have a good one. And see you next time. Yeah, for now we're done. And even if we don't get to see ourselves next time, tomorrow, still thanks for all. And still do your part. Make sure to stay happy, be responsible, and all of that. So yeah, goodbye.